You might say that 1.6 million people had a good run for their money. But being green is an expensive business, and if you want to show the rest of the world how virtuous you are, you will now have to cough up.
Mm.
In the next budget, Rachel from Accounts looks to be gunning for the owners of electric vehicles. So from 2028,
Yeah.
I think it will cost an EV owner 3p, 3 pence a mile to travel in their EVs. The odd thing is, it's that the owner would estimate how many miles they plan to use the car for and pay the amount along with the road tax. If in the next year they do less miles than the estimate they gave, then some of them would get a sort of a rebate. And of course, if they did more, they would have to pay more on the next time they tax the car.
Yeah. Yes, I understand. Yeah.
She hopes that the scheme, and I hate the word scheme, it makes the whole thing sound tacky, like plotting and scheming.
Really?
But I digress.
Yes.
She hopes this scheme will rake in £1.8 billion into the public coffers. Apparently, in the UK, there is a duty paid on petrol and diesel, and that was set up in 2022 as a temporary measure. That was by the last lot.
Yeah.
It was governing the country.
Yeah.
But we all know temporary measures are never, ever a temporary. And we would hope, even though we would hope them to be.
Mm.
And the excuse for this duty is to help the upkeep of the British road system. Now, I've been away from the UK a very long time, but when I was there, I was led to believe that the car tax was used for that reason. The drivers pay the car tax each year.
Well, that's an interesting scenario, that is, yes. Yeah.
Well, and this tax was to maintain the highways and keep them safe.
Mm.
So is this tax being spent on other things now, or has highway maintenance got so expensive the cost of the tax won't cover it anymore? But anyway, in the end, if Reeves has her way, it'll cost the average EV owner an extra £350 a year to be able to clock up the miles. There you are, short and sweet.
Well, yes, they wanted to bring this in. They've been wanting to bring this in for quite some time. When Tony Blair wanted to have us all with monitors in our cars to monitor distances with transducers by the roadside, etc., etc. Yeah.
That was when before the EV came in.
Yeah.
When the EVs were brought in, they were sort of exempt from an awful lot of things. And all of us, Reeves has put them crosshairs.
I mean, EVs are actually heavier than conventional ICE cars because they got heavier batteries. They use up tires more. They're wrecking the roads. I mean, the thing is, things get sold as a solution to it. There's no such thing as a free lunch, is what I was told. Or when you learn engineering, you learn for every idea there's an equal and opposite force, and you've got to sort of mitigate and work this one out. I mean, does everyone need a car? Is the ultimate thing. If you improve public transport, will everyone use it? Okay, that's a societal thing. But yeah, I mean, I've known for a long time that when you're talking about the road tax, the government saw a great big pot of money and grabbed a lot of it, and very little of it is actually ever used for road maintenance. That's been known for about 60 years almost. Yeah. I was told this about 30 years ago. No, probably more than that, 40 years ago.
That's when I left the UK.
Yeah. So I'm probably longer than that. Yeah. Well, an old boy lived down the road to me, and he said, very, very, very little of your road tax or the road tax actually goes into the roads. Governments like ways to screw more money out of us. And they'll tell us it's one thing when in fact, it's so that they can afford to be extravagant and go off and do things and sell us.
Pay rise.
Oh, they're public servants. Yeah, they'll find governments will always find a way to squander money. I mean, I believe we all have a moral duty to do our own tax efficiencies. I'm not saying tax evasion. I'm saying tax efficiencies. Yeah. The two things are different, or tax avoidance, as we do call it. But yes, tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion isn't, and I don't recommend anyone looks at doing tax evasion. Yeah. But yeah, be tax efficient. Also, yeah, look at your lifestyle as well. I mean, anyone that went out and bought an EV hasn't done their homework anyway, and because EV batteries do need changing. I can keep an ICE car going indefinitely, almost. Yeah. And an ICE battery, when it's like your mobile phone, when your battery goes in it, doesn't matter how well you've looked after it. You try and buy a new battery for a Samsung or an Apple. Well, you can't get them from Apple. An Apple that's 10 years old. You can't do it. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much you love that phone. It does everything you need it to do, whatever that might be. But yeah, you can't get batteries for it, and it's the same with the cars. People are going to have problems getting batteries for a lot of the EV models on the road already. Whereas I've never heard of an ICE car not being able to use one or other form of traditional fuels in it. Yeah, sometimes they're modified, but yeah. I'm afraid, yeah, she's desperate to raise money, and all governments were, and it is possible. It doesn't matter whatever government you're having next. There's a black hole in the UK's financial coffers.
Yeah,
that needs filling.
It's not even a deficit. It's the how much the government owes.
Yeah.
It's 90% of GDP now.
Yeah, which is okay. It might be in a better condition than most of Europe, but it's still not a good place to be. I mean, when they're so comparing with other countries, well, the other countries are even worse. Yeah, that's nothing to be proud of, guys. You know, it just means that they're more into the SH1C than we are at the moment. Yeah. Okay, you've got to get a grip on it. Preventing the population from investing in money in other things isn't the way to do it. But you can't borrow. Government spending has not decreased. The trouble with this bunch of idiots we've got in now, yes, I am calling the British administration, the British political class, and civil servants a bunch of idiots. Because
over the last 15 years, sir.
Yeah, well, I don't care, but they have been leading us into this destruction, the spiral. This financial spiral where now we're going to be hit. You're going to be hit for having a normal life. Getting in your car and being able to drive somewhere is part of your normality, to do your job, to even socialize. When you go socializing, you're going your annual holiday in Yarmouth or somewhere else like that. You're driving from Blackpool to Yarmouth. Couldn't understand that, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's the longest distance I could think of. Is it a pointless journey? Yes.
I'd say Land's End to John O'Groats, sir. But what do I know?
Well, I'm talking pragmatic. Why would I suddenly want to do that journey? Yeah.
Because it's there.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Yes, I did used to live in London, and I did used to have a job in York, and I did used to drive up from there to there. It's not quite the same distance, I'm saying, but yeah. In Wales as well. On the last job time I was in the UK. I lived in Wales, or I was working in Wales, and I've stopped doing that journey actually. I found cheap places to stay up in North Wales. Very pleasant as well, North Wales is, I may add. Yeah, I visited places at the weekends I never thought I'd ever go and see. Yes, you people in North Wales, you don't know what a gem you've got there for tourism. Say that, yeah. But yeah. Again, I'm looking at this. Yeah, Reeves needs to raise money quickly. She's a dead woman walking, therefore she can say anything, or she's been told to say anything, because she's probably not going to be around much after the next budget anyway. So it doesn't really matter what she promises or doesn't promise. The next budget is probably going to be the final nail in this present administration's coffin. The problem is, and another certain notable leader of another very popular party has said, I won't be able to reduce taxes. He's been honest. Yeah. This government is now just going to be piling on taxes for everyone, for everything. Yeah. And okay, you can argue whatever she does, she puts it on alcohol, she's killing jobs. She puts it on cigarettes. Well, okay, I don't smoke. I don't agree with smoking. It could be a way of reducing the health costs if people give up smoking. I don't know. But yeah, she's hitting the easy target, and that's the dear old motorists who have been encouraged to go to EV, have escaped, and now are going to be hit as well, which was predicted 4 years ago. So, I mean, yeah, other than being able to put money on breathing air, which, you know,
Don't put ideas into her head, for goodness.
You've had more than your quota of oxygen this year. You know, can you? Yeah, you now got to reduce your intake of oxygen. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's just getting ridiculous now. Come clean, reduce government, reduce the size of government.
Yeah, we've been through that before. She'll never do that, man.
Can't we just get rid of government?
Well, I'm interested to know who's going to go first: Starmer, Reeves, or Lammy.
Oh, Lammy is good value for money. I mean, he was hilarious yesterday at PMQs. You know,
Well, if I was on the opposition, I would say to him, "Hey, hey, hey, I'm not a French taxi driver. You talk to me with respect."
look, I tell you what, I mean, he is like a Monty Python sketch from the 70s. He really is. I mean, yeah, we've taken comedy off mainstream TV, and it's now moved into the Houses of Parliament. Yeah,
Right, it has.
yeah. This bunch here. I mean, we used to make satirical. There used to be satirical, yeah, comedies in the 1980s about this lot, and yeah, I reckon they must be watching these old comedies and thinking, and yeah, that wasn't. There was a radio play. There was a radio comedy as well about the man. Was it the man for the ministry? I believe it was called. I would check that out, people. I've listened to a recent. I've had to stop listening to a couple of these quite recently because they're just too far. They're just too much into reality of now. Yeah, the man for the ministry. And I'm just trying to remember the actor in it. It is actually very, very funny. It predates Yes Minister, Yes Prime Minister, and I'm not joking. It's from the 1960s, and it was predicting really what is now. It really is. I mean, we did used to have half competent politicians who used to stand for office. You could disagree with them, but they could sit down and have a reasoned debate with you and bring the receipts and facts and figures. You could disagree with them, but they could have a sensible conversation with you. I'm afraid David Lammy yesterday, I don't think David Lammy could have a sensible conversation with an 8-year-old child and look good. Yeah, have a conversation with an 8-year-old child and look good.
But anyway, bringing this whole thing to a conclusion.
Yeah.
The EV owners have got to be going to start paying more in 2028. Just when they needed to change the batteries in the cars that bought their EVs this year. So there's going to be an awful lot of sawn EVs off the roads in another 3 years.
I think the second hand. I tell you now, would be the time to buy a load of second hand ICE cars because you're going to have a good market. Then people will be going back to ICE cars, second-hand cars.
That's all the petrol stations haven't closed down by then.
Yeah, that's the point. How would you? Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that this lot wants to actually control every aspect of our lives, stop us travelling in to begin with, anyway. So, go to hell on that, people.